All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ms. TV Total Football. Yes, that's the name of the channel at the moment. I will revisit as to what it really needs to be down the track. But the bottom line of this channel is it's going to talk about everything besides Chelsea. So pretty much all other football club, all other football talks, maybe sometimes not even football, maybe just random things or maybe just vlogs or whatever. But a large part of it will also have Ishan involved in this. And together we're going to bounce off each other and talk about many, many different things. Today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, I want to really talk about Rúben Amorim. Rúben Amorim is one of the talk of the town right now. Manchester United, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you've seen the table. I'm going to have a quick look at the table right now. Ishan, I'm going to let you know where Man United is. Man United, ladies and gentlemen, are 16th in the Premier League table. Spurs are also 17th, so mad stuff happening. Spurs we can talk about another day, but Man United, Ishan, 16th in the Premier League table. I believe they don't even have 40 points as yet. Yep, they've got 39 points. Ishan, Rúben Amorim was brought in, I believe, November off the back of abysmal sort of performances from Eric Ten Hag's side. He was brought in November.
Yeah.
And Ishan, it's been a disaster up until now. Before I give you my opinion, and to the people that are watching, let us know in the comments how you feel about this. Ishan, Man United fans are somewhat getting, not somewhat, I think large portion of it are getting fed up with Rúben Amorim already. Where do you see, what's your mindset on Rúben Amorim and what he's been doing so far at Man United? Before I give you my opinion on it.
Yeah, look, I look at it as from a different perspective. I think Chelsea and Man United, the way they're being operated, it's somewhat on a similar scale, and the problem lies above the grasp of lower level management. It's somewhere up there, right? These guys also have been a huge turmoil. The ownership change, the new ownership came in, the new ownership trying to change a lot of policies in the club totally. Changing from trying to save money, trying to save pennies from each and every corner. United as an entire ecosystem is on a downgrade, a huge downgrade now, not just from performance perspective.
And has been for a while. Like it just
Yeah.
didn't happen today. Like under Amorim, it's been for a while. It's been on the downward trajectory.
Yeah, it has been for a while, and the only thing which saves United from being on the focal length is their rich history, and their performance in past years, and especially with under Sir Alex Ferguson. Now
Yeah.
coming in, yes, the old ownership, there was a downgrade. They started falling down. The good players started leaving. Now nobody wants to join in. There were some very, I would say, failed signings. If you go back 5-6 years down the line, also you'll see those failed signings, with the likes of Romelu Lukaku. I don't know how many of them were there. Radamel Falcao,
Plenty,
Alexis
bro. Jadon
Sanchez. Oh my
Sancho,
days.
Alexis
Jadon.
Sanchez.
Yeah, so
The list goes on. The list goes on.
the list goes on, right? And it's not that it's the players fault or the management's fault. I think so the ecosystem, entire ecosystem of Manchester United is on a downgrade, and like you said, it has been on a downfall, let's say, for a decade now. I'm talking
easy.
about since 2015, right? We're at 2025.
Easy.
A decade now, easily. And when you say a decade, it's not a joke anymore, Miz. It's not a joke anymore.
That's 10 years.
10
I think
years,
it's
right?
probably more than 10 years, to be honest. I think the decline has been ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left. I think
Yeah.
the gradual decline really started to happen. Ishan, what I want to talk to you about is this whole Rúben Amorim situation. I'm seeing a lot of the fan base on social media.
Yeah.
They're not committed. Well, a lot of them are committing, but there are certain parts that are not committing to Rúben Amorim to be out. But they're inside. You can tell. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
Rúben Amorim out. Ishan, I find this very strange. If you look at Rúben Amorim, and I want to see what you have to say about this, and once again in the comment section, let us know. Rúben Amorim, Ishan, for me, is not some sort of a Mickey Mouse manager,
Yeah.
Rúben Amorim has actually done very well at Sporting Lisbon.
Sporting.
A
Yeah.
Sporting Lisbon that before Rúben Amorim, I'm not entirely sure. I think it was FC Porto that was really killing it, and Benfica as well.
Mm.
Rúben Amorim put Sporting Lisbon, in my personal opinion, back to the top
Yeah.
echelons. And he was not only competing in the domestic level where he was winning trophies there, but he was also competing in the European level where I think just before he joined Manchester United, he beat Man City as well. And I know
Yes.
everyone's going to say, but
3-0.
everyone was 3-0. I don't think it
It
was
wasn't a
3-0.
3-0.
I think it was like 3-1 or 4-1. It was something crazy. Sporting Lisbon ended up scoring quite a few. Anyway, check it. Bottom line, his Sporting Lisbon team was playing very good football and winning. And Gyökeres and a whole heap of these other players were performing at a high level. Rúben Amorim now comes to Man United, and some of these Man United fans are thinking this guy is probably not as good as he was deemed to be. Everyone can be good in Portugal. I have to say, Ishan, how many more managers? Eric Ten Hag was not good enough. And we remember what he did at Ajax. You remember that Ajax team in the Champions League.
Right.
Okay, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was never good enough. They had Jose Mourinho. He wasn't good enough. And the list goes on, the managers. When is this football club going to start sitting down? Because I feel like, Ishan, Rúben Amorim, the way he talks in the press conference, he understands what the problem is. And he keeps repeating, it's a lot deeper than just the manager or the player. As you said, the whole ecosystem seems to be a bit of an issue, from ownership, the recruitment, everything. Do you think, Ishan, it's wise for some of these Man United fans to think, even though how rubbish they've been, they're 17th or 16th, whatever I said, and under Rúben Amorim, the results have been shocking and the record has been shocking. Do you think it's wise to once again get rid of another manager and bring someone in?
No, it's mad, isn't it? And I mean, it's kind of sad as well, because the first line of defense, I mean, the first one to get a bullet is the manager, always, right? That's what the history has been for football now for years, right? The player doesn't perform, it's on the manager. The team loses, it's on the manager. The team wins, it's on the manager. Something's going wrong, it's on the manager. Who has to go on and answer all the press conferences? Manager, right? Who has to go on and control and handle all the media? Manager. So it's on the manager every single time, and it kind of gets harsh on the manager to that every time you come out and complain on the manager, but sometimes it's more bigger than that. And in this case as well, again, I wouldn't say that Amorim is the perfect fit for Manchester United. Just the similar way in Chelsea's case, like we always used to talk about, right? Maresca is not the perfect fit. And it's not the best manager. We wouldn't care if Maresca gets kicked out.
Maresca is a developing manager.
Right?
Manager.
So even I do not think the fact that Amorim is like a creme de la creme sort of manager, take Manchester United to next greater heights, or take them to next level, and or maybe create something magic. But it's just that the question is a bit more deeper than pointing at manager. The question is your atmosphere, is your environment in the club good enough for any other manager? It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
These Man United fans, they think, get rid of this guy as well and bring someone else in, and it's all going to be rosy. They got to start understanding, Ishan, that some of their players, some of the recruitments they've done, a lot of them need to go. A lot of their players need to go. I mean, for God's sake, Ishan, when we sold Mason Mount to them, do you think that was a wise decision from Man United to get a player like Mason Mount, who was on a decline at that moment, and the kind of money that they've paid us? And then so many other players that they've bought recently is just not worked out at all.
Yep.
Um, Once again, as like, I don't want to just purely blame the players because I don't know, Ishan. There's something about that club. It's it's the manager that struggles, the players that are struggling.
Yeah.
Something about that entire structure there is just off. How they fix that, I'm not sure.
No, that's $1 million question, man. Miss, how do you fix it? Because they just changed ownership, right? And it was
Yeah.
not that even before changing ownership, everything was good, or the new ownership, after the new ownership came, it all derailed down. It was not like that. Even the ownership that they had before this, it was all going downgrade and it was all going downhill. Ownership changed. They thought, all
By
right,
the way, it's still the same. It's still the same ownership, but Ineos has taken
yeah,
the
yeah,
footballing side of the things. Like I think 25%. They've taken the football. Glazers are still the owners.
Glazers are still there, yeah, but the yeah, the shareholders and all
Ineos.
changed. So
Yeah.
yeah, uh, but there have been some movements in the club. All these financial cut-offs and all these kind of trying to save the pennies and all, bro. It's more than that, I think. So you need to more bring in more players, more maybe not just from a managerial point of view, but every manpower that you have needs to understand the integrity of the club and to fight for it. I don't think so currently
Mm.
it's happening like that. You guys, I don't know what the objective is. It's quite difficult to determine the objective. Is it saving money, gaining money? Because in our case, in Chelsea Football Club, it's about gaining more profits, and everything happening around is about gaining more profits, and the actions made by the owners are revolving around that, right? In
Mm.
Manchester United, it looks like their objective is to save money, but then again, it's not directly implying on the players, because the players are being well fed, well, they're well salaried,
Oh,
so if
good wages. Yeah.
good wages and all. So why, who is stopping you to buy top class players? You're Manchester United. You have that resume in you. Right? Go out there and buy top class players, buy top class manager. Get, if you feel that, all right, from the top level, the changes, whatever is going on, or the changes, what's going to happen from the ownership level or the director level is very difficult. All right, make some integral changes in the lowest level, which is the player level, right? Make some integral changes there. Get some players out who are not playing for the batch. Get guys like Bruno Fernandes. I mean, he's been the captain, and the entire Manchester United fan base just does not like him. So
Mm.
aren't you seeing that? And this has been going on for years. You don't have a captain who's fighting for your badge. You know, there's no one who looks like they want to win a match going into the pitch. You bought, just like the point that you mentioned, Mason Mount. He's a Chelsea-born guy. He goes out there and gives an interview and calls it a home, and you believe that? Do you think so?
Mm.
He's not never going to fight for the badge. He's not going to be never going to be a player for you who just gives everything. Harry Maguire, how many times this guy has helped you lose a match straightforwardly? He wins few of them for you by virtue of headers, but he's not one of the guys who plays for the badge for you. And you guys know that. Why is he still in the team? That's kind of shocking. And the first finger that you point is on Ruben Amorim. I know he's been bad, he's been poor, like the worst, right? And if it was
Mm.
our club, I don't know how many losses they incurred this season, but this is not acceptable. I think so. Three managers would have got sacked in Roman Abramovich's era inside Chelsea Football Club, right? But you need to make a change. This cannot go along, because at the end of the day, if I was a Manchester United fan, I would just say, this is again the situation that we were in. This is beyond tactics. This is beyond uh, football at the ground. This is more about decision making from up top, from the higher management, and trying to bring in more integrity to the club. Do make some change up top. Bring some new director, those sporting directors who plays or fights. Bring in more legends. You've got hella legends, man, lot of
Do you know
legends.
what? Do you know what? Like specifically the two names that you actually said, Bruno Fernandes and Harry Maguire. I actually think they do play for the badge, but I don't think they're good enough. There's two
Oh,
difference.
yeah, yeah,
Playing for the badge is like for example, me, I could play for the badge, but I can't control the ball, I can't header, I can't shoot.
mm,
But my desire, my heart is for the badge. Like I'm dying for the badge, but my quality is not good enough. I think I think with Bruno Fernandes, obviously this season's probably not the greatest example, but I've seen in previous seasons he's just been so erratic. The quality at times is not there. We've seen many Bruno Fernandes disaster classes. We've seen many Harry Maguire disaster classes. But I don't necessarily think it's the badge thing. There are certain players that don't play for the badge. There definitely are. Um, for example, look at the kind of mistakes Onana makes on a regular basis. I'm not really sure
yeah,
whether he's always playing for the badge. And there's
yeah.
many other players that I feel like, well, we saw Rashford. Rashford probably
Mm.
didn't play for the badge anymore, and he's, been shafted away.
But
Coming
one thing
back
here is,
to,
Miz,
yeah,
if you know the fact that some players are not capable enough, at least to represent for a club like Manchester United, agreed. There have been plenty of managerial changes, right? You as an individual, you have if your performance has not improved under any of those managers,
mm.
then why are you sticking around? Do you know what I mean? What is the
Now see,
guarantee?
now that's the problem. That's the problem. Like, how have some of these players, Ishan, have stayed on for so long? Like Ruben Amorim has said post match today after they got beat by West Ham at home. The amount of times these guys have lost not Stamford Bridge, at Old Trafford this season is unbelievable. Old Trafford used to be a fortress. They're just losing games for fun now, right? I think Ruben Amorim is on a 5 or 6 game losing streak in the Premier League. No one
Yeah,
talks about all of this. This like that club is in the mud. I think the I think one of the biggest issues, as you said, some of these players they're not good enough, but they've had this longest career of their lifetime in Man United. Luke Shaw, for example,
yeah,
how long has this guy been stuck at that football club? He barely plays. He's always injured, and somehow he's
yeah.
managed to have 10 years in that football club. How is that possible?
Right, right.
How? Look at someone like, for example, Rashford. How long has he been around that football club? And he's not looked good for a long time.
Yeah,
Um, Martial, not that long ago as well. I don't think he was playing that well, and he was around the football club for a very, very long time,
very
and
long time.
they weren't
Yeah,
doing well. And the list is long. There's so many other players that we can name and go through. Coming back to the Ruben Amorim situation, Ishan, a lot of the fan base, Manchester United fan base, talk about, oh, I don't really like his wing back play, the three at the back, the wing backs. I don't really like that. It's just, I'm over it. I'm like, why has a club selected this manager? This manager was
yeah,
successful playing like this at Sporting Lisbon.
yeah,
He was killing it. His
yeah.
whole wing back, the three at the back, everything was compact. They were pressing good. They were aggressive. They were just robust.
Mm.
Why will a manager who's been successful doing what he's been doing will come to Man United and all of a sudden now he has to change his whole footballing philosophy? Everything that he's ever believed in that has made him successful, now he has to rip it all apart just to please the fans. Then
Right.
why did you hire him? This is why I always say, and this goes for Chelsea as well. Why do you hire a manager after 2, 3 months or 4 months or 5 months, whatever the case is? Or now you don't like the manager's style. Why did you hire him? It's like
Why did
saying,
you have?
Ms., we know you're a credit analyst. We are hiring you as a credit analyst because you're a very good credit analyst. And then 2, 3 months later, you know what? We want an electrician. Well, excuse me?
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, you wanted a credit analyst and that's where you
Right,
hired me. Now you want an electrician? What do you want me to do now? What am I meant to do now?
right.
Now, a lot of people change that by saying, oh, but he needs to be far more pragmatic. I don't think people seem to understand. Like at this level, the managers, they don't completely rip apart what they believe in. They may
Yeah,
tweak a little bit, but they don't rip apart. I mean, Ishan, Do you find this odd that all of a sudden the Man United fan base, like, they don't seem to have any level of faith or trust on Rúben Amorim? Or you agree that who is he? They should go for someone even better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the exact question that I was about to ask. Just imagine today you sack Amorim, sack him. All right, fine. I don't know how many losses that he had this season, 5 in a row, 6 in a row, 15, 20 losses, 17 losses this season. Sack him. Who's the next guy? And do you have confidence in your team, in your entire atmosphere that you've created around Man United, that this new guy, new manager coming in, is going to take you to new heights? Is going to have you stand toe to toe with Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal? Do you
Mm,
have the confidence? Because I don't think so. Any manager coming in uh, would have that confidence in this Man United squad currently, which is happening. Because uh, look, it is like I told you, there are some things which are beyond uh, managerial. Uh, gra-
mm.
that's beyond managerial control. We saw Amorim come out and say that um, there are it's going to take time. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot more than what the fans are expecting. It's just not about tactics change, few things here, do few things there, and
Mm.
it's gonna mend it. No, it's beyond that. It's beyond that. And
It's a
maybe
cultural change. It's a cultural change.
it's
Yeah.
I think so, Miz. The command, the ownership, and the control that Sir Alex Ferguson had on the
Mm.
entire Manchester United Football Club as a, a company, I don't think so. Any manager has managed to have that.
Have
Or
that. Yeah.
let's say after Sir Alex Ferguson was he left as a manager, the authority did not allow any other manager to take over or take control of the
Do you know what?
entire
That's a very
situation.
good point. Because remember, Ishan, when Sir Alex Ferguson was a manager, as
Yeah,
soon as he didn't like a player,
gone, out, doesn't matter, doesn't matter,
he might be bought like 6 months ago, but I don't like
doesn't
you
matter.
anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Get
yeah,
out. Get out.
100%.
Whenever there
He
was a disagreement between him and the player,
out.
say,
He had that
it's a
power, right?
very
And
good point.
nobody would come up to him and say that no, you cannot do that, or play this, play him, or you're not allowed to do that. Which currently we as Chelsea fans are looking at our club, which is Robert Sanchez, biggest example, right? He's been playing day in day out. We're not buying any goalkeeper. I don't know due to what reason. Any goalkeeper which looks like a competition to Robert Sanchez has been loaned off. Petrovic, for example, right? So
Mm.
there is one player which we feel like there is an influence from up top, not from managerial perspective, right? Because Alex Ferguson would never see that happening. You would never see that happening with Alex Ferguson. And the new managers coming in, I don't think so. They had that control ever. Do you know what I mean? And maybe that's what Amarim is saying. Clubs like Sporting, who might not have that biggest of aspirations, right, of winning the Champions League. Their aspiration might be like, get me a top four for my maybe top six or top eight,
Mm.
or to my domestic league, and maybe a Champions League qualification is like a cherry on top of a cake. If you do make me do that, that's fine. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to manager getting control. It's much more easy to have
Mm.
control on those teams
So
rather than
what you're
have that
saying
ownership,
is
right?
Ruben Amorim had his full control over Sporting to build from base level all the way to the top. What
Yes.
you're saying is Man United needs someone, whether it's Amorim, whether it's whoever else, they need someone that can completely build this on their own. Now, I know a lot of the Man United fans, and we're going to slowly wrap this up. They're probably going to say, I don't want to give someone that much power. I'm scared. What if they just ruin it even more? But I think you're right, man. Like, you need, if you have too many, like, you look at Chelsea, you got the manager, you got the sporting directors, you got the owners.
Yeah.
And if you don't have everyone in the same page, is so difficult. It's
Yeah.
so difficult. And actually, I've even forgotten one other factor in this: fans. So you got the manager, you got the directors, you got the owners, and you got the fans. If you
Yeah.
don't have all of these factors in the same line, it's going to be trouble. It's going to be
Yeah.
trouble. You look at back in the Sir Alex Ferguson time, he wanted well balanced, robust teams that can win trophies, right?
Yeah.
That was in line with what the fans wanted.
Yeah.
And then that's how the sporting directors or whoever else was part and the owners, they operated. Now it's like owners want to do something, sporting directors want to do something, and then the manager has to make do with all of that. And
Yeah.
then it's not even in line with what the fans wants to see. And then when there's trouble, when there's results going the wrong way, it's all the manager's fault. It's all, and this is a vicious cycle for Man United now. This is a very vicious cycle that they think that just by getting rid of the manager, that they can just simply get another manager and it's all going to be rosy again. They've destroyed many managers, man, and they're on the verge of destroying Rúben
Another.
Amorim as well. They've destroyed Eric Ten Hag. They've now on the process of destroying Rúben Amorim. When is it going to be time where we can all say, wait a minute, you know what, you Man United guys, you need to probably look into how you're running your club, because you're going out there destroying many people.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not the people, it's not the manager, it's not the players, but as you said, how are you being run?
Yeah.
How are you being run? What's your final thoughts,
And
bro?
and you know what, Miz? I think so. When the manager comes out and publicly speaks like that, that it's beyond players and tactics and everything, bro, it's a problem. That means managers not be able to focus. As simple as that. As simple as
Mm,
that. The manager is not being able to focus on his work. He's not been given the authority, or he feels helpless. That's why he's coming out in the media in front of the open world and saying that it's beyond tactics, it's beyond the field, it's beyond those 11 to 15 players, it's beyond something that, and it'll require much more time and effort than that. If the manager comes
mm,
out and publicly says that, just know that he's facing troubles, and for a longer period of time he's been facing that trouble. He's seen that, and it's out of his control. He cannot do anything. That's why he's being vocal in the media there. And once he's been vocal, just
mm,
know that he's not being able to give his 100% on the team. That's why this downfall. If the manager's not being able to give his 100% focus on the team, just imagine what tactics is he gonna think, man. If he knows that, things are not well around me, forget about thinking tactics. Tactics is like, you'll have to be like hyper focused on your team, hyper focused on your opponent's
tactics
team.
is like tactics is like when everything is gelling properly. That's
Yes.
when tactics, when the entire organization is falling apart, no tactics is going to save you, bro.
And it's not just about you thinking as a manager, thinking about on or your team. You'll have to be known about your opponent's team more than the opponent teams knows themselves. That's how you win
Mm,
tactics, right? That's how you know, and you set up your team so that you can beat the opponent, that whoever you face next. How is a manager gonna be able to do all this when he's not just comfortable with the way things are running around him? So
mm,
that's why
mm.
we always say that manager is the most important uh, player out of all the players, right? If you're not giving him that importance, and he's not comfortable in whichever ways, I'm sorry, as a club, as a management, as a fraternity, that particular club is failing.
No, you're right, man. You're right. My final message to Man United fans and any other fans, obviously, that are watching, footballing fans. I honestly think this is a vicious cycle for Man United. This chopping and changing and chopping and changing. Yeah, you might end up getting a Europa League and you might be in the Champions League, but you're literally going nowhere. Yes, you won the FA Cup last season. Yes, the season before, I think you might have won something as well, but you're not actually going anywhere. You're picking up the trophies, which is great. You're picking up the odd trophies, the domestic trophies. You're not really doing anything substantial. You're not competing for the Premier League title, and you're not anywhere near in the Champions League or even competing for the Champions League title. So you're doing all this other Mickey Mouse business around the corner. You need to now give Ruben Amorim an opportunity. I personally feel, and I think this is what Ishan is trying to say as well. Even though we believe Ruben Amorim may not be the creme de la creme, but I think simply chopping and changing manager and hoping that it's going to turn out great for you, those days are over for you. Those days are well and truly over because
Yeah.
the problems are far deeper than just manager. You have, look at all the stuff that we've talked about. You got recruitment issues. You're keeping players that don't belong in your football club for too long. You need the hard-working ethics to come back to your football club. And you need your ownership to wholeheartedly back a manager. Wholeheartedly. Not penny pinch, this, that. Wholeheartedly back someone. Or else, it's 16th this season. You see the Premier League? It's a ruthless league, man. Everyone is improving
Bro,
on a regular. You're 16th. You think all of a sudden you're just going to catapult to be in
we
the
might
top?
need to have a separate video for that. All the teams in the Premier League are not a bunny anymore. You're not messing
No,
around.
no, no. You are not messing around. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Let us know what your thoughts are. Should Rúben Amorim be sacked? Is the problem just Rúben Amorim? In your personal opinion, what is the true problem at Man United to have them at the level that they're in? I know rivals, we laugh about it, we banter about it, and we still will as the years come on. But on a serious, what is their deep problem? Let us know. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe, hit the bell notification, and stay in touch with all our content. We'll be back again, same time tomorrow, with something different. Until then, take care. See ya.